Like a sculptor chiseling a masterpiece from raw stone, defy the rigid molds that bind your own. Break free from the chains of convention's might and let your creativity soar into the light. Dare to dream beyond the ordinary sphere and paint the world with colors that endear. For in the breaking of norms, a truth is found, a path to greatness where inspirations abound. On that note, I take great pleasure in welcoming the very renowned Richard Hutten today at the Designers class. Richard is a prominent Dutch industrial designer and embodies a unique blend of humor and functionality in his work. Having graduated from the Design Academy Eindhoven in 1991, Richard quickly established his studio in Rotterdam the very next year. He has been a pivotal figure in the Dutch design movement, particularly through his involvement with Droog Design that he joined in 1993. Richard stands out as a distinctive designer who not only creates visually appealing products, but also encourages contemplation about the essence of design itself. His skill in merging creativity with practicality while maintaining a strong commitment to sustainability positions him as a key figure in contemporary design discussions. As he continues to innovate and challenge established norms, he remains a significant advocate for a more engaging and responsible approach to design. Welcome, Richard, to the Designers class. Before I begin with the round of questions, I should tell I'm highly inspired by your work myself and look forward to hearing about your journey through life and career progressions.
Thank you for your beautiful words. I love it. Great.
So great. Richard, I'm very excited to have you here today. And to begin the conversation, the first question I have for you is, considering your involvement in the Dutch design movement and significant contribution to Droog Design, how have the changing dynamics of global design influenced your creative process and the direction of your work?
Like you mentioned, I was one of the founding members of Droog Design back in 1993. At that time, the world was a different place. There was no internet, there was no mobile phone, there were no computers. So it was a total different place. And in 93, we decided with a bunch of other young Dutch designers to show our work in Milan. And we went there and we landed with a shock. And nobody heard of us, nobody saw the work because there was no internet. And soon we became the talk of the town. And by the end of the week, I was literally world famous. Like I said, there was no internet, there was no computer, which only came later. And that, of course, changed the way I work a lot. In 93, I was drawing with a pencil and paper. That's what I'm still doing today. But of course, I have assistants nowadays who help me on the computer develop things. And like everything I see as a toy. So if there's a computer, I play with it. And that, of course, influenced also the way I design.
The roots of Dutch design can be traced back to earlier movements such as style, which emerged in the early 20th century, as I know, and founded by artists like Piet Mondrian and Theo van Doesburg. Style advocated for geometric abstraction and simplicity in form and color. Are these not similar characteristics that we see in contemporary designers today that are so experimental yet minimalist, so creative yet technologically and culturally rich? Would you agree to that?
I'm happy you mentioned the style and Gerrit Rietveld. Gerrit Rietveld is my absolute hero in design. He was who invented modern design. He made the first modern design, the red and blue chair. He designed in 1917, so that's more than a century ago. And that was the beginning of what we call nowadays modern and contemporary design. So indeed, if you look at this work, it's still very relevant, it still looks very fresh, it still looks very contemporary, it still looks very much of today. So in that sense, the influence of Rietveld continues until today. Like in his work, my work is also very conceptual. In the Dutch press, they hailed me as the new Rietveld for that, which of course is a big compliment. I'm also a conceptual designer, but I think my designs are less rigid and more playful and more fun and more humor. So I definitely work in a different way, although there is an overlap in the approach in design.
I absolutely love the flexible and optimistic approach you carry through your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Richard, we at Design Mumbai in the designers class celebrate a fusion of diverse cultures, design philosophies, and unique perspectives. How do you perceive the interplay between Dutch design traits such as minimalist pieces of art, experimentation, innovation, user-friendliness, sustainability with Indian aesthetics?
That's a very complex question. I work globally. I work in 15 countries, a lot in Asia also, Japan, Korea, China, but also I have clients in India. And I think the future is about collaboration and learning from each other. The world has become much smaller since we have the internet. And I think we both can influence each other. If you look, for example, at my rock Playing with Tradition, it was a very influential rock. I designed it in 2007, and it got copied a lot, including in India. And the starting point for this design was like a centuries-old traditional Indian rock with a traditional pattern. And then I sort of pixel stretched the traditional pattern into stripes, which are very contemporary and very modern. And by doing so, I was blending East with West, India with Holland, centuries old history with contemporary design. So that's a way how I tried to merge these fields.
Great. I think Dutch designers are also very inspired by clean lines and practical forms devoid of unnecessary embellishments. And in contrast, Indian aesthetics often embrace ornamentation, reflecting a rich cultural heritage. So traditional Indian design has always incorporated intricate patterns, vibrant colors, detailed craftsmanship. But what we're observing now is that there is a growing movement while Indian design is trying to align with a lot of minimalist principles, particularly in contemporary architecture and product design. I think simplicity is being celebrated all over the world while still honoring cultural narratives.
So the aesthetics, whether it's minimal or decorative, has never been in my interest. So what I try to do in my work is to try to tell a story, and the language I use to tell that story is not so important. Of course, it starts with the idea, it starts with the concept, and I very often transform that idea in a very direct way to my design. But for me, the language is not important. We also don't need a new language. We need new stories which reflect our times and our needs of today.
For sure. And the idea takes you where it takes you. I totally agree to that.
Yeah. That's how I try to design. And some of my designs are very minimalistic, but others are very decorative. So that sounds like a contradiction, but for me it's the same style because it's more about an attitude than a physical style.
With the rapid advancement of technology now, designers are constantly exploring new mediums and methodologies. How do you incorporate technological innovations with your design process? And what role do you believe technology will play in shaping the future of design, especially in the context of events like Design Mumbai?
In the context of Design Mumbai, it's a bit complicated to answer, but in general, I'm very keen on production. I call myself a maker, and making is the core of my practice. No matter what I design or make, of course, I'm famous for my interiors, for my furniture design, my product design, but I also make sculptures, I also make videos, photos, I paint, and I don't have a favorite medium, and I always like to explore new possibilities. Every tool which is invented is a new toy for me, and I try to explore it, and if possible I incorporate it in my work. That can be 3D printing, I was art director for a Dutch company which had this amazing robot tufting machines, which was like 3D printing with yarn, and that was for me a new playground. So every time I see a new technique or a new innovation or a new possibility, I try to use it. At the same time, this has the risk that we forget the old traditional techniques, which I also really enjoy. India is, of course, also a country with amazing crafts, and I'm really enjoying crafts. And I think you can also innovate while at the same time using a traditional craft. So you don't have to 3D print to be innovative. You can also use marquetry, for example, to make something very contemporary and innovative in these days.
While many designers create products today, their designs may not be imbued with a compelling narrative. Your designs are more than just objects, they're stories waiting to be told. By challenging conventional norms and infusing each piece with a meaningful narrative, you're setting a new standard of design. Given that thought, what message would you want to convey to our young audience out there?
Ooh, so many messages, but it's always hard to advise the next generation. My heroes was Lemmy, the singer of Motorhead, the rock and roll band. And he once said, don't make the mistakes I made, make your own. And that was a very good advice. You learn by making mistakes. But what is really important is that you follow your heart and do your designs with passion. And also think about what is important for you in life, and that should be reflected in the designs you make. I have a story to tell, and I use design to tell this story, and it's not the other way around. So always the story comes first, and then the design occurs, and not the other way around. And I think that's what I would like to say to the next generation. Follow your heart, find what's important, and tell that story.
There are so many books that have been published and have been so interesting in terms of your body of work, your thoughts, your perspectives, the unique vision that you carry with yourself with evolving times. In your book, Taking Form, Making Form, you delve deeply into the process of transforming abstract concepts into tangible forms. Reflecting on the same, how has your exploration and experimentation with shapes, materials, and design techniques challenged traditional norms?
Challenging traditional norms is not a goal per se, but of course people nowadays live different than 100 years ago, which means we have different needs, we have a different society, and my work reflects on the needs of today. So that it makes the change. And of course, if you're in the forefront of design or in any of the other arts, you push boundaries, and that's not a goal, but that's happening on the road.
For sure. And your iconic Table Upon Table project, I think, exemplifies very beautifully how basic forms can redefine a sense of purpose while being so functional. You've shown us how shapes can transcend their conventional roles and engage in so many new ways.
I'm happy you mentioned the Table Upon Table project. It was actually my graduation project at the Design Academy in Eindhoven. I designed it when I was like 22 or 23. I was really a kid at that time. It turned out to be very influential. It's been collected by over 20 museums in the world, including in the MoMA in New York. And at that time, I really was looking for the essence of furniture design. And I came up with the Table Upon Table design, which was a sort of an anti-design statement. It was, I also call it no sign of design. And I found a language which I think is recognizable for almost everybody on the planet. So right after my graduation, I actually went to India, and I saw these traditional day beds in India on the streets where people were laying on. And it was actually related one-to-one to the beds I designed at that time for my graduation. So I've sort of found the universal language in my design, which everybody on the planet could relate to.
Given the rapid evolution of contemporary design styles, how do you envision your work adapting to the ever-changing landscape of interior design as it evolves over the next decade? Will you continue to embrace the influences and push the boundaries of what contemporary design can be?
In my work, I never follow styles and trends because I think a trend is the mildest form of copying. I did a lot of research with Droog Design about copying, and my conclusion was that trends are the mildest form of copying. I don't copy. I'm a very original designer, I can say about myself. My ideas don't come from the outer world, they come from my brain, from a drive I have inside and a story I want to tell. And as long as my stories are relevant in these changing times, the stories will change because of the times, not because of the designs other people make.
Your book, Works in Use, offers an intimate glimpse into your design journey and philosophy over the years. What inspired you to compile this collection, and how do you envision it contributing to the discourse on design for both seasoned professionals and emerging designers?
The idea for the book Works in Use came because people spontaneously sent to my studio images of my work, which they had in their home, becoming part of their life. And they were so happy that they took the effort to find out who was the designer, if they didn't know it, and to send me these images. And I really found it super cute, super heartwarming. It was like, okay, these people make this effort to show how happy they are with their design. And of course, in the magazine, you see all these glamorous pictures with a white background or with a nice tiled setting. But these people send me pictures of their real life, not their fake life and not their Instagram life, their real life and how they used the product and where it was used, with their personal stories behind it. And I found that beautiful and amazing. Design is not for the magazines, it's not for the blogs, it's for people's life. So I found that super inspiring, and so I emphasized on that aspect, how my design really becomes part of people's life. For example, my world famous Dumbo Mug. I designed it initially for kids, and then I found out that elderly and handicapped people also can use it because they can drink from it. Somebody told me, and my father survived on it because he was shaking a lot with his hands and he could not hold anything, but my mug he could hold firmly. So in the morning he was drinking his coffee from my mug, and the evening he was drinking his glass of wine from my mug. And this guy said to me, "You saved my dad's life," and that is fantastic. That my work becomes really part of the life of a lot of people, and that's why I made it.
The Dumbo Mug has become, this iconic piece in your portfolio. Looking back, what unexpected lessons did you learn from its widespread success, and how have those insights influenced your approach to designing everyday objects for a global audience out there?
It's quite a funny story, this Dumbo Mug. I don't consider it's my best design, but it's probably my most well-known design. We sold more than 1 million worldwide, which is a crazy number. Even companies like IKEA would be jealous about. And that makes and if you sell 1 million, you don't only sell to design lovers. You just sell to ordinary people who think it's a fantastic piece. And I designed it in 2000. I got this request from this German television program for kids that they organized an event for children, and which they organized every year. And they had this giveaway, which was standard ceramic mug with one ear and a boring print on it. And they asked me if I could design something better. And the client was a good friend, so I said, okay, for you, I do that. And something better was easy because something uglier was not possible. Like I said, I designed it in 2000, and at that time, my oldest son, he's 26 now, but he was 2 years old. So I thought, I designed it for him. And when you're 2 years old, you're this small. So I thought it would be nice if you design a mug where when the child drinks, it looks like a massive theatrical movement, and it becomes fun to drink from. So I designed the mug. The handles I had used before for a piece of furniture which I designed for the Central Museum in Utrecht. So I made this mug with this massive big ears, and when you see it, it makes people smile. And as I found out, young children are really dragged to it. When they see it, they want to touch it, which I think is a fantastic compliment. Children 2, 3, 4 years old, they don't have perception of design. They don't have perception of quality. What's good design, what's bad design. They react from their instinct, and it's nice to see that their instinct draws them to this piece. So it was really nice. I learned that no matter which assignment you take, it can always be a special one, as long as you can relate to it. And of course I could relate to it because it was a design for kids, and I had just become father 2 years before. So I had a very strong relation to the topic, and I told a very personal story.
The Layers Cloud Chair demonstrates your innovative use of materials and manufacturing techniques. Given India's unique craft traditions and artisanal techniques, are you exploring any new material combinations or production methods that you're excited to discuss with the attendees at Design Mumbai?
Like I just said, I'm really focusing on marquetry, which I really find interesting. And I started to research about it, which included several 100 years old cabinets in the Rijksmuseum here in Amsterdam in Holland. And I found out at that time, which is the time of world famous painter Rembrandt, whose work costs millions and millions and millions. It's totally unaffordable. At that time, this cabinet maker with this really fantastic marquetry was more expensive than a painting from Rembrandt. And as you can see by the quality of the craft, you understand it was more expensive than the painting by probably the most famous painter ever lived. So that was really interesting to find out. So I really want to do something with this technique, which needs some revitalization. If you use this kind of materials and techniques, you automatically get very sustainable products by the nature of the craft. And if I manage, hopefully in the near future, to combine this craftsmanship with my vision and my ideas, art will occur. But I'm interested in all kinds of other crafts. I'm very, very proud on a recent collaboration I started in India with Jaipur Rugs. And hopefully, or definitely within the next half year, we are going to launch a very big collection of hand-knotted rugs, which I designed in collaboration with Jaipur Rugs, which was really a fantastic product to do.
We're very excited to see that on the day of the event. Given everything that you've spoken about in terms of the craftsmanship, the textures, colors, materials, and techniques, I also dive deeper into the layer cloud chair because I think one piece invites users to engage with the piece at many levels, making it not just a functional item, but also a work of art that enhances the surrounding space. So while so many designers in India, very specifically furniture designers, are creating so many versatile pieces of furniture, fantastic profiles, a lot of cultural influences intermingling there. But I feel that a furniture piece can be definitely looked as a standalone piece for sure. But when it embraces the interior environment with a sense of great purpose, that's when I think that a designer has made a mark. And I give it to you for the thought process for the Layers cloud chair there.
Yeah, the Layers cloud chair definitely is a one-of-a-kind chair. It's a unique piece. I designed it in 2014, initially commissioned by a textile company. So the starting point was the material, and I did a lot of research about the material. I tore it apart, I put it on fire, I stretched it, I tried everything to find out how this material worked. And fabric is of course used as a cover material for a lot of upholstered furniture. But my idea was to make a piece of furniture only by this material. So after designing all the aspects, I did a lot of research in which form I could use. And then eventually I used like 250 kilos of textile. So the chair is made of solid wool, 545 layers of textile, which were first hand-drawn, then computer CNC cut, and then hand-applied. So it's a mix of technology and crafts to create this piece, and it took like over 600 hours to make this piece. And it's a piece of art. It's a piece of art. It can compete with any painting nowadays. That's related to what I just told you before about this marquetry cabinet. It's related to any form of art nowadays. It can compete with any form of art, and of course, if it's in the space, you're drawn to it immediately. Earlier this year, I had an exhibition here in the museum in Holland, and they had to put 2 guards next to the chair because literally everybody wanted to touch it, which is amazing because everybody sees hundreds of chairs every day. And none of these chairs make you feel like I want to touch it, but when people saw this chair, they wanted to touch this chair, which I found like fantastic. Designing for me is playing. It's being described by Dutch philosopher Johan Huizinga in his book The Homo Ludens, which is Latin for the playing man. And he describes how art is is a play, and for me it's also playing, and playing is about fun. When a musician does his job and he works, and then and people say you played well. And the same when an actor does his work, people can say you played well. And even with a musician and as a football player, but it's the same for a designer like me. It's playing, and playing is only fun when you do it serious. If you and I play Monopoly, and I have the street with the hotel, and you come on my hotel, you have to pay, then you have to go like, oh shit, I'm in the hotel, I'm bankrupt. And if you go like, oh, whatever, then it's no fun. The fun comes because you're bankrupt. Of course, you're not really bankrupt, it's just a game, but you have to act like you really take it serious, and then the fun happens.
I'm sure it's all about the spirit, ultimately.
You have to play serious. You have to play serious.
Richard, throughout your career, you balanced commercial success with artistic integrity, I must say. And at Design Mumbai brings together a diverse array of designers. How do you navigate the intersection of creative expression and market demands in a new cultural context? Are there any specific challenges or opportunities you foresee in presenting your work to the Indian design community?
And the project I'm presenting at Design Mumbai is in collaboration with Design Mumbai and the Park Hotel Group, which is really a nice collaboration. It's quite a complex project. Every project I do has a context, and so the context for this project was Design Mumbai and designing a hotel room, but the really complicating factor was that I only could use the furniture and other elements in the interior which came from the exhibitors in the exhibition. And that was for 100 different reasons, a very complex process. But eventually I'm very happy with the result. It would have been different if I could choose from anything I would like. But despite all these handicaps, I'm very happy with the result. And that's with every assignment the case. It's always about the context you design for. Of course, if you design for a furniture company, you cannot design a car for them and tell them to make a car. You have to design a piece of furniture. So my work is always context driven. If I design for industry, then of course it has to be industrial produced. When I make my own limited editions, I have different constraints. When I design for a company like Scarlet Splendor, for example, from India, who work with the finest craft people from India, then I have a total different context. So my work always evolves from the context where I design it.
As far as Design Mumbai is concerned, Richard, I see it as an invaluable opportunity for designers to connect with peers, suppliers, and potential collaborators. And I think there are going to be so many interactions that are going to lead to new partnerships or creative projects. It's an exhibit where I think the cross-pollination of ideas shall take place.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to meet new people in the Design Mumbai. I love India. I'm a big fan of India, and I find it's very inspiring to meet all these people and share my knowledge. I will be taking part in 2 panel discussions. One will be about sustainability, and the other will be about hospitality. And there will be definitely the possibility to ask me questions or to talk to me afterwards.
Considering your recent projects and experience in the industry, what do you believe are the most crucial skills or approaches that design students should focus on to succeed in today's rapidly changing design landscape?
I think passion is more important than skills. Knowledge you can gather everywhere. You don't need every knowledge from the beginning. When I work with clients, for me, it's a collaboration. We're in the same team and we share knowledge. But that means that I also have to bring some knowledge on the table, not only the client. So the knowledge should be about the story you want to tell. I repeat it again. It's the story you want to tell. That's important, not the technique you use. Please don't follow trends that will bring you nowhere, that won't make you happy, doesn't make the client happy. Really think about the needs of people who you're designing for, the context you're working in the story you want to tell, and be original, be yourself, follow your heart.
I am very, very thankful to you for such an insightful session. To our audience, don't be afraid to break the mold. Let your personalities shine through your own unique creations and voice. We thank you for being here at the Designers Class today.
Thank you too. It was really a pleasure talking to you, and I hope to see you all in Mumbai very soon.
I'm very excited to see you myself.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.